Jake, and this is
Neverland Navigation Radio.
Where today we armchair Imagineer ourselves a brand new resort at Walt Disney World.
Yeah, this is wild.
This is wild.
We're creating a whole new hotel.
Yeah, this is one of the more ambitious armchair Imagineering things that we've done.
It's not like making changes to something that already exists. It's creating something from scratch.
Yeah, it's kind of like an original idea is required, kind of, for this situation. So we really had to put our thinking caps on. If you've never joined us for Armchair Imagineering before, I've been talking to my microphone, that's okay.
That's okay.
If you haven't joined us for Armchair Imagineering before, it's when we from home kind of will into the universe our ideas.
Sometimes it works.
And sometimes, literally, that's so true. Sometimes it works.
Yeah.
Sometimes they listen. But we kind of imagine, some projects that we would like to see, maybe Imagineering. If we could give Imagineering an idea for them to run with, this would be the idea.
Yeah.
And in the past, we've done theme park lands and ride makeovers and restaurants and things.
Yes. And recently we've noticed the trend with them has been not to create new hotels, but just to expand with new buildings on old hotels.
Right. A la the Polynesian.
Yeah, the Polynesian. Yes. Wilderness Lodge got like Copper Canyon, and there's a bunch of them like that. Even the Coronado, which I totally applaud that. I applaud that the Coronado got the Destino Tower.
It's a great tower.
It is, but I don't know, it's so different.
Yeah, it's a little disjointed.
It's disjointed because if I thought I was going to be staying at the Destino Tower and then got one of the other rooms, I wonder if I would be disappointed.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know why they didn't make a new one.
It feels like a whole new hotel.
It does, totally.
The Grand Destino. So, did you pick something to add on, or did you pick a whole? Yeah, well, I think we both went with totally original concepts.
Yeah.
Before we dive into what our ideas are, I'm very excited to hear. First, we wanted to say thank you so much for joining us for the episode today. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, then we would love it if you could leave the episode a review. That would be awesome and help us out a lot. And if you'd like to see the visual version of the podcast, you can see that on our YouTube channel at Neverland Navigation Co.
Yes, and if you are thinking about taking a trip, whether it be a Disney trip, even a Universal trip, or a cruise, I love doing cruises. They're so much fun. Please send me an email at neverlandnavigationco@gmail.com because I am a free-to-you travel agent, and I can help you book that trip. And I can get you the same price that you could take hours finding yourself online, or I can find you something better, do all the research for you, help you plan everything, and you get free trip t-shirts from our 5-star Etsy shop as a thank you for letting me be your travel agent.
Absolutely. That's whether you're booking a cruise or a stay at a real life Walt Disney World resort or any resort, really.
Yeah.
And we've got so many... I don't want to say favorite. We've got so many resorts already that we love. What are some of your favorites at Walt Disney World?
Oh, really putting me on the spot. I really
love... just a couple. It doesn't have to be in order.
Yeah, I love Animal Kingdom Lodge. That's one of my favorites. I just love the ambiance in there. It's so different. The Polynesian. I really like what they've done with the Contemporary and how they've... Contemporary was always so, different from anything else because of the monorail going through it.
Totally.
And then when they incorporated The Incredibles, which is one of my favorite movies, Disney movies, that was just the icing on the cake for me. What about you?
Yeah, I love all of those for sure. I also love Pop Century. I think that's a fantastic theme for a resort, really outside the box.
Me too.
And we should give out a shout out to our shirts that we're wearing today. I think you're wearing a shirt inspired by Art of Animation, right?
Yep.
That's got to be one of our collective favorites.
We love Art of Animation.
Yeah. And then I'm wearing a Riviera Resort shirt.
Fancy.
From the Neverland Navigation Co. print shop. And that's one of my favorites as well. It's a newer edition, but I like the vibe of that one too. And that's just to name a couple. I mean, there are so many that I can think of with great themes, like the Boardwalk, and Beach Club.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, they're all like almost all of them I love so much.
I know.
And I was even talking to
They don't miss very much.
They don't miss very much, and even the ones I don't know. There's just something.
Port Orleans, Riverside.
Oh yeah, that's a miss. That's a miss.
Yeah, that's the best of a bad situation.
Yeah,
is what that one is.
Yeah, and some people love it.
Oh yeah, and even that is a very like serene, kind of nice hotel, and you can take a boat ride.
Yes,
there's so much that's still
good about it. I love Port Orleans French Quarter with my whole heart. So it's so funny that here we are hating on Riverside, which is pretty much very similar.
I know, and it just comes down to theming, really.
Theming, yes. Well, theming and execution and remodeling and stuff like that. But
when you're at Disney, that makes a big difference.
Yes, but I was just talking to my family, different parts of my family, having the same conversation, which is very funny, about how, like, I live down here now and my parents moved down here recently.
Right.
And then we have all, like, collectively had this, like, wait a minute moment, like, wait, are we never going to stay at an all-stars resort again? Like, that's part of the experience.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want to just stay at your mom's house.
Because now you're so close. Yeah. Oh, wow.
You want to, like, take the bus.
Yeah.
You want to get the refillable soda thing. You want to see the larger-than-life, or whatever of the resorts.
That Joffrey's coffee in the morning.
Yeah, we always did, like, all-star movies and all-star music were our favorites for the past couple of decades.
Great options.
Yeah, even though they're not my favorite with theming,
right?
They're still so amazing for the price.
Yeah, and they're whimsical and fun.
And part of the experience. Yeah, anyway, so yeah. I love Disney hotels.
As you can see, we are big resort fans.
Yes, so I highly suggest staying on property.
Me too.
If you're doing a Disney World vacation.
Absolutely. There's so much built into why that makes the experience so much better. We've been lucky enough to stay at a bunch of different resorts.
Yeah.
But something that is always in common is how nice it is to have the convenience of Disney transportation and the perks that come with staying in a Disney resort.
Yes.
So staying on property has a bunch of advantages built in.
Yes, and we both have had points in our life where we're like, oh, to save money, we're going to stay off property.
Right.
And one, it's not that much money saved because All-Star can get so inexpensive.
Right.
And two, not worth it. You've had a really bad experience. I know.
Yeah.
That we're not going to recount. But yeah, some of the budget options is just not worth the $20 you might save.
It's true. And there may be problems here or there in Disney resorts, but generally you can count on the Disney brand to give you kind of a baseline decent hotel experience at the very least.
At the very least.
Even if it's at a value resort, they still, they've still got a brand to kind of uphold. So
yeah. And
now that the rooms are renovated and stuff, I feel like it's not even a question.
No question. So we're making new ones and putting it out there and seeing if Disney decides to make these, and if they don't, that's fine too.
Yeah, maybe some very mouse-sized ears are listening to the conversation.
Because a lot of the things we've Armchair Imagineered have come true.
It's so true and weird. So funny. At D23, it's like it was immediate. We had done a roller coaster episode, and Morgan was like, the Monsters Inc. door coaster, of course.
Yeah.
And we did a land Armchair Imagineering episode where we both were thinking about a villain's land.
Yeah.
And then the next D23, it was like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Right? And you might think that's obvious, and you might think like my hotel idea is obvious, but that's kind of why I'm choosing, you know what I mean? I'm choosing something that makes sense within the brand.
That makes me so curious about what you picked.
Oh, I'm so curious about what you picked, especially if yours is not.
How should we decide who goes first today?
Oh, I don't know.
I would be okay to go first.
Oh, then you go first.
Okay, sure. All right. The resort idea that I went with, and it was hard because some of the ones that I was thinking about, I realized Disney had already kind of covered in some type of way, because they've got a lot of, not only do they have a lot of themed resorts, but then the newer approach to rehabbing the classic resorts has been to put IP and stuff in them.
Yes.
So like Moana is already at the Polynesian. The Incredibles are already at Contemporary. I know. So I was trying not to get too overlappy.
Trying not to pick a movie?
I was trying not to pick one particular movie,
Yeah.
and I was also trying not to tread water that had already been super tread by Disney resorts before.
Which is hard because there are some, like, this is where my brain went to first too. I was like, what movie would make a great hotel?
Yeah.
And there are some that I would just love to live in. You know what I mean? I would love to stay a night in like the 1960s Art Deco Incredibles. But yeah, they kind of did that. But they kind of didn't. You know what I mean? What they did at the Contemporary was slap some stickers.
Wallpaper.
Like, I just sung its praises, so you know I'm not really hating, but it's not an Incredibles resort.
Right. It's not totally that mid-century
modern,
yeah, cool contemporary vibe. Even though it is in Disney's contemporary resort.
Well, and
but
Moana, it's like a Moana Easter egg. No, not quite.
But yeah, it's like a light theme. It's not like a complete craziness.
Yeah.
But anyway. Like, if we were living in the Incredibles world, everything would be angular and mid-century and contemporary. And at the Contemporary, despite its name, the Contemporary is brutalist architecture with its big...
Is that the real name?
I think so.
Ooh.
With its big concrete angular design, and not angular in like a mid-century cutesy kind of way where there are those sharp edges on those mid-century atomic age houses. It's a very different vibe, so I see what you mean, that there's a distinction there.
I probably should have just named a movie that they didn't even do that with. You know what I mean?
Well,
like, would you like to stay in Monstropolis or whatever?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm gonna let you go.
It was hard to not think of all that. So what I ended up with was an adventure themed resort, which is kind of similar,
like Adventureland themed.
Kind of, yeah. In my brain, it would be called like Adventure Cove or something like that, with like a little bit of like a tropical kind of thing. But you know, I wanted to not make it Polynesian-y.
Okay.
So that was kind of the challenge.
No, I'm imagining Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Which is totally different.
Definitely that would be, I think, the vibe. Would be like an Indiana Jones type of thing. And in my brain, this would be somewhere in the Magic Kingdom resort area.
It would have to be.
Would make the most sense to me. Don't ask me where or what plot of land or whatever.
We don't know.
I don't know. But one
Let's
of those
fill into lake somewhere.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
How much of the Seven Seas Lagoon
do you really need?
Do we truly need?
It could be where that defunct water park was.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
I would definitely...
I just answered your question. We acted like we couldn't answer. Sorry, go on.
No, you did. Perfect. I'll take it.
It's a jungle out there.
Which is great for this because, it's basically jungle themed. So, yeah.
You have to take a canoe to get there. You have to.
Aw,
just kidding.
No way. Not you have to, but that would be cool. Canoe option.
With all your luggage.
Oh my god. Hopefully not. So the idea of this would be in the lobby area, a very like jungle cruisy, adventurelandy type of eclectic kind of theme.
All the tropical plants.
Yes, tropical plants.
Would you put a smell in there?
Definitely would have to have a smell. Some type of tropical smell. I know there is one in the Polynesian that people really like.
Yeah.
I would definitely... See, if it depends on the budget, because if this is going to be some big budget thing, it would be so fun to have some type of...
but no budget.
Well, yeah, but I meant, is this a moderate? Is this a deluxe? If this is a deluxe, then I want like a water feature of some kind. Yours would be deluxe?
Yes.
Well, this is what makes me think that maybe mine might be a moderate. Is because I would think that for this kind of concept of an adventure-themed resort to really work, you would want to have IP in it. You'd want to have the Disney adventure IPs in it. And so I would think you might want to have themed hotel rooms.
Sure.
Like to different adventures. And the ones I came up with for the themed wings would be Peter Pan, which would be like Neverland themed type of rooms. Aladdin.
Okay.
Tangled.
Oh, Tangled. Unexpected.
Thank you. And Hercules were the ones that I picked. There were some others that I considered, like Frozen and like Moana.
What about the Adventurers Club?
That actually, so something that I was thinking about with this theme that would be great is if it had one of those, if it had a space like the Adventurous Club that was like
Mhm.
a lounge club type of
You
space.
want to bring back that? What was it? A comedy club? Was it a comedy? It wasn't comedy. It
The
was just a
Adventurous
bar.
Club,
Yeah,
it wasn't a comedy club, but they had these like performances
that
in
were
each room
a
that were
little
comedic.
comedic. Yeah. Okay.
So kind of. But I would want to have a similar something like that, but you have to like go through a bookcase or something to
Oh,
get through it,
yeah.
adventure-y and cool.
I love that.
But that definitely, you bring up the Adventurous Club. That was one of my first thoughts. I was like, wait, adventure. We have to have
Yeah.
some type of society of explorers and adventurers, adventurers club type of thing going on. So that a secret study bar would definitely be on the to-do list. And it, so that would be, I guess, in the main portion of it, the Adventureland type of portion of it.
Okay.
And then you'd have these wings, and I would think that in the middle, this would be the perfect opportunity to have, you know how the yacht club and the beach club have a really cool pool
Yeah.
that they share?
Yes.
I think in the middle of all of these wings, I think like an island adventure water park type of
Oasis
situation,
kind of.
yeah,
Yeah.
would be really cool. To
That
have
sounds
here.
more like deluxe.
That's pretty deluxe, right? But these themed hotel rooms, I'm like, oh, well, how do you make a themed, like a cartoon themed hotel room? I know that's what they do
Yeah.
for like the poly and the contemporary,
Yeah.
is that they are deluxe accommodations with these, like, I guess it's like an elevated version, a heightened aesthetic based on the theme is what they try to go for. Like in the Moana rooms of the Polynesian, it's all the woodwork is
Mhm.
what like makes it Moana esque in addition
Yes.
to
Yes, I see what you're saying. So, like in the existing deluxe resorts, they're very kind of subtly themed,
right.
and you're thinking not subtly themed. But I don't think it has to be like that. Like if you think about, well, some of the resorts in other countries, they don't care. You know what I mean?
It's true, yeah.
And then also even like the Star Wars hotel that we hope was going to just turn into a hotel that was the whole
Yes.
ship thing, that was well, I guess it was just fully immersive. It wasn't themed. And
Yeah,
yeah,
that
I
one
see
was
what you're
weird.
saying.
It would be tough. I remember this is not really as much of a thing anymore, I don't think. But I remember at themed hotels back in the day, sometimes the main accommodations might have some light theming, but then the room that was specifically for children
Mhm.
would of the hotel room, this would be like one of those two, what do you call that?
2-bedroom suite.
Yeah, like a 2-bedroom suite. Then the kids' bedroom would have some type of over the top
Yeah.
theming, like a mural on the wall
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that might be a good concept for this, is to have like a more subdued, elevated type of theming in the main area, but then the kids get a really cool,
Yeah.
super themed room. That would be really fun.
Hmm.
And the only other idea that I had for this was that if we wanted, we could have Dole Whip here.
Oh, yeah.
Which would be great.
I almost said that. Yeah.
Yeah, that came to mind 100% because it's not like it's everywhere at Walt Disney World, although now it seems to be more prevalent in everyday life. The Dole
Yeah.
Whip.
Oh my gosh, I just saw that it was like BOGO at Publix.
Oh my god, what?
Right in the freezer section. Yeah.
That's
It's like
crazy.
Dole Whip. I was like, no.
You're ruining
You're
it.
ruining it. Don't you think?
I mean, I think that might be our nostalgia talking because we loved having Dole Whip at Walt Disney World, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? It was so special that you could only have it there.
Yeah.
I know for many decades now it has existed kind of all over
Yeah.
under different names. They just weren't allowed to call it Dole Whip.
Yeah.
But now that it's being
And
sold,
some did anyway.
yeah, right, exactly. So now it's being sold like in the freezer section
By Dole.
by
Yeah.
the name Dole Whip. It's like, oh man.
Yeah, it hurts my heart a little. I'm not really sure why. You're right. There's probably some psychological aspect to it that makes me feel like it should be part of the Disney experience, not part of sitting in your living room.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna buy it at the grocery store, but I had during. Okay, let me.
I've only ever had Dole Whip at Disney World.
Yeah,
Ever.
except I tried making it during COVID.
Oh, fun.
Because Disney put out a recipe for
How
it
did that
during
go?
COVID. was good.
It
It
was
wasn't the
good.
same, but I think what it was missing was the atmosphere.
Yeah,
You
that's
know what I
true.
mean?
No, it's so true. It does make like Adventureland is where you get Dole Whip.
Yeah.
I love that about that.
Yeah, I honestly, even though you can get it in Animal Kingdom, I don't generally because I associate it with being right next to the Jungle Cruise, being right next to the Tiki Birds.
That's
You know
a
what I
different.
mean?
It's so funny. In some ways, we are purists
We are some ways.
for the Disney World
Yeah.
experience of the earlier era
Yeah.
of Walt Disney World.
Yeah.
It just comes out in different ways because that was our childhood. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's so funny.
Right.
But you could have Dole Whip in here, and you could have like a tropical serenade type of animatronic type of experience.
Tropical Serenade is the name of my favorite Dole Whip like concoction.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that. That's the
Yes.
name of the Tiki
Yes.
Room, or the original Tiki Room concept.
Yes, it has, I think, coconut soft serve and then pineapple juice and then a pineapple upside down cake pop.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
we've gotten it.
Yeah, we've gotten it, and I remember you telling me that was your favorite one. That is so good. I love when they put fresh coconut and stuff. That tends
I
to
do
be really
too.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was basically my idea. I don't know.
That's a good one.
I haven't thank you. I haven't fleshed out any of the major, I guess. Well, those are basically the major details. I guess I haven't really thought about minor details like an actual floor plan or anything. But
Oh, yeah.
as far as ideas go, I think that's what I've got is an adventure themed resort.
I like it.
Thank you.
I like it. Yeah, I don't think the Polynesian is as much adventure as what you're talking about.
That's like a relaxing tropical vibe.
Hawaii kind of.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Yeah.
Very
I get it.
chill vibes. This would be a little bit more
Yes.
danger, adventure type of vibes.
Yes.
Yes. All right. So that leads us to your idea, Morgan. What did you pick to be Walt Disney World's next themed resort?
Okay. So I'm going to have to kind of paint a picture here because I could just say it, but so my idea.
Paint the picture. I'm ready.
So you know how, like I just was talking about, there's already this Star Wars hotel in existence.
Yes.
And
R.I.P. the Galactic Star Cruiser.
Yeah, that we hope will come back one day as just a Star Wars hotel.
Right.
And on the Disney cruise lines, the newer ones, if you get an interior stateroom, they have what is called an option of what is called a virtual porthole.
Oh, yes.
So it is a window that's actually a screen. And see, you might hate this because I know you'd rather have real stuff than screens, but I'm talking about screens.
I've seen video of the porthole thing.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's cool. Yeah.
And so we've got the technology for this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same kind of thing they used in the Star Wars hotel.
Right.
To make it look like when you're looking out the window that you're looking into space.
Yeah.
And so my idea is to do an underwater hotel.
Ooh.
Yeah. With
wow.
so when
Coral Reef vibes?
Actually, I wrote that down as a better version. They would need a restaurant that's a better version of Coral Reef.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but kind of like the Star Wars hotel, but with underwater.
Okay.
But bringing in some IP from different different movies and stuff like that. So
I love this.
You could be in this section that is the Little Mermaid section.
Mm-hmm.
You could be in a Finding Dory section. And I say that because both of those already have a place in the art of animation.
Oh, right.
Finding Nemo and Little Mermaid. But I stand by it because
it would be different.
It would be different. Because if you were in... So I can't remember if you actually in your real life rode this. I'm thinking no. But you remember the part of Horizons where if you chose underwater, you could you saw like there's an underwater
sea castle.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So in my brain, it's kind of like that.
Oh,
right?
Cool.
So when you're in your room, it looks like the outside looks like the ocean, and they can use that technology with the screens to also make it like how you could see the characters going by.
Oh.
Which they use that technology on the porthole situation in the cruise lines, where occasionally you'll see a character or whatever.
Sebastian.
Yes, exactly. Some of the other ones that I said. A little bit of a stretch would be Moana. That would have to be like the suites because Moana's on land and more on land. But they had that whole scene in the first one where she was underwater with
Yeah.
what's his name?
Maui.
No.
Tamatoa.
Yes,
All
thank
right.
you. So you could have him.
Right. Yeah, Tamatoa could
He's
be
not
swimming
scary,
by.
right?
No, I don't
I
think.
know he's a bad guy, but I thought he was so charming.
Right? I don't think unless he's making his scary face, when he
Yeah.
makes his scary face. I think if he's not doing that, it's probably fine.
I need him singing the song, actually.
Oh, yes.
Just joking. And then another section where you've got the classic characters like Mickey and Minnie and Goofy and Pluto in like little scuba outfits going by. Yeah. So these are my ideas. Okay.
I love that.
So the hotels would be kind of like what you imagined was in the Horizons, where you know what I mean? It was just like you had gone in a submarine to get to this underwater
living community
yes,
thing.
Exactly.
Right.
So the process of getting there would need to be a little bit of a complicated, kind of like they did with the Star Wars hotel. You know what I mean? Where you pull up and then you go in, and it would be like the beginning of the Nemo ride,
right,
where you're like walking into the water or whatever.
Right,
or something
there has
like
to be
that.
a transition.
There could even be where they put you on something that is akin to the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea ride, and it seems like you're going into the deep. You know what I mean? Okay. And then when you exit, you're inside the hotel, and all the windows show these screens and make it seem like you're underwater.
Right. So in reality, this hotel would be above.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. You know what comes to mind for me for that transition from land to sea?
What?
Is back in the day in Epcot, in the Living Seas Pavilion, there were these things called hydrolators.
Right.
That were like elevators that didn't even actually move, I don't think at all, but they just simulated you going underwater with bubbles and stuff.
Totally that would work. Like in our version of this now, opposite direction is the Space 220 restaurant, where you're in a room that's an elevator. Is it even an elevator? It doesn't matter. I actually don't think it is.
It's like a shuttle.
Yeah, but it makes it feel like you are taking this elevator up into space. You could do the exact same thing but going down.
Yeah, and that one's really
kind
cool.
of would be like a ride.
It is kind of like
and
a
that
ride.
one is cool. It's big. You can fit luggage
and
in
you
there.
can see the bottom.
Yeah.
The bottom is how you see in the hydrolator thing in the Living Seas. The screens and stuff are on the wall.
Yeah, and
so
I like how they do it in Space 220.
Yeah, it's really cool. It reminds me a lot of Mission to Mars or Flight to the Moon, which was like a theater in the round attraction where you would look down at you leaving the Earth, basically, which is exactly what Space 220 does, which is why it's such a cool Epcot kind of thing.
Yeah.
Even though those were Tomorrowland attractions, but it's the same type of vibe. To have that would be a really cool transition.
Yeah.
And I love the idea of your something happens to you where you get transported to the theme of the hotel.
Yes, exactly.
I love when Disney does stuff like that.
Me too. And so if you would still be inside of a building that's of course but you would never leave until you went out the way that you came in.
Wow.
Yeah, so if they did a pool, it would have to be an indoor pool. You know what I mean?
Wow. Okay, yeah, I see.
But you're supposed to be in a building that's underwater. So it doesn't all need to be so over the top, because in a building underwater, you could have a regular pool. I'm not saying it would be just regular, but yeah.
Right. Okay, I totally get that. Maybe they could do something really cool with like having the pool in a room in some type of domed room and having projections on the ceiling or something to make it look like you're still underwater. Because you're in a building. It's a little it's like those classic Disney concepts where you're like, oh, now that you've explained it to me, now I completely understand why we're in a pool, but we're underwater.
Right.
But you have to think hard about the theme to understand.
Yeah.
That would happen kind of a lot in like theme park attractions and stuff. Even going back to the early days of Disneyland, people were like, why do we never see Peter Pan? It's because you are Peter Pan.
Right.
That type of themed in-depth thinking.
Well, you do see Peter Pan. Are you talking about on the ride?
Yeah. Did you always? Oh, it was Snow White. Snow White wasn't in the
Oh,
Snow White
okay.
ride, and people were like, "Why do you never see Snow White?" But it's because
You
you were from
are.
the perspective of Snow White.
Got it, got it,
But
got it.
then they eventually changed that to put Snow White in the ride.
Right.
Yeah. So that sometimes the keeping the
It's hard.
integrity of the theme
Yeah.
sometimes makes guests not be able to immediately understand, but I think that's the beauty of the storytelling, is that you commit to it and you tell the whole story,
Yeah.
and then
I do
thematically
too.
it makes
I
sense.
do too. So this would be complicated, and
I was gonna ask about the pool. That sounds cool.
this hotel would be like have screens really everywhere. But I
Yeah.
feel like it's what I'm seeing it more and more in all kinds of different things like Space 220, like the rides that they're building now are have a lot of screens. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
Guardians, you're completely surrounded by screens.
Right.
Even cruise ships that were going on, we're starting to see more and more screens like covering the walls and stuff like that.
In
Like
the water
right now,
slides.
I'm not talking about Disney, but yes, in the water slides on Disney cruises, the
Right.
newer ones, you're actually like watching a cartoon as you're going through the water slide,
Crazy.
which means this technology isn't that bad, which probably means that, I mean, it's done, you know?
Right.
Oh, and Runaway Railway is really the most perfect example
Yeah.
because that's like
Everything
all
is
screen.
projected. Yeah.
Yes, yes, and it's amazing.
Yeah. What they do with the projection onto practical
Yes,
3D surfaces to make it look like it's like popping out and stuff
yes.
is really cool.
And they would need to use that technology in the lobby and in the pool area probably to achieve, this like, oh, you're underwater, you
Yeah.
know. Or they could not and just put like portholes where you just see that you're underwater through like windows.
Yeah. And
Um,
there's some like combinations of that. Like they have like in the Seas ride, the Nemo and Friends ride, you're seeing actual water in a tank, but then they project the characters onto
yeah,
the glass or whatever. So it's like a little bit of both. You
right,
know what I mean?
right.
So the options would be whatever you needed for the room or the situation you were in, you have all these
Yeah.
options for how this effect has been done before, which is awesome.
Right. And I know that this would be like screens and projections and stuff like that is expensive, but it's got to be coming down if we're starting to see it everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As technology progresses, the prices of this kind of stuff come down. So I do think it's possible in a deluxe resort setting.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Galactic Star Cruiser was all screens all the time.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And I mean, that didn't work out for them, but I think it's because of the way they did it. If they had just made a Star Wars hotel from the get-go, and I think again, I think it can have success if they run it as a hotel where you check in, you go in, you go to space, you go to your room, you're in space while you're in your room, but when you want to leave, you do whatever, and it's $600 or $700 a night, which to me is crazy, but that is normal
Yeah.
for a deluxe resort. That's what Grand Floridian costs, sometimes more,
Yeah.
and you don't get tech.
Yeah, or like interactive story
Right.
moments or whatever.
Well,
yeah.
but see, I would take out the interactive story moments, I think,
Mhm.
if they're gonna redo the Star Wars hotel as a regular hotel. But I mean,
We'll
still,
save that
still
for the
have,
next Armchair Imagineering.
yeah, still
How
having,
to fix the Star Wars hotel.
right, still having the characters and stuff, and not having it be so. Anyway, you're right.
Would you have any character? You know how some resorts have character meet and greets and
Yeah.
stuff? Would you have any cool character involvement in this?
I don't think. Yet maybe the classic characters in scuba outfits. That would be fun.
That would be so fun. That would be so cute. I
Yeah.
don't think you can meet them in scuba outfits anywhere.
You can
Here at
I
Walt
don't
Disney
know where
World.
have I seen them in like snorkel gear.
I would think my guess for that would be Castaway Key.
Yeah, and I don't think it was even in real life. I think I'm just imagining like cartoons and pictures.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they've had snorkel adventures in cartoons.
Yeah,
they've done everything in the
on
cartoons.
Castaway and on the cruise lines. They do have cute beachwear and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and even something like that would be fun, like resort
Absolutely,
wear.
yeah. You know what
Yeah.
I keep thinking? This is not a Disney film, so sorry, but in the film Wicked that came out
Yeah.
last year, there's this underwater club scene, and I keep thinking, how cool would it be to have some type of like performance
That was
venue?
underwater.
Yeah, it was like yeah, it was underwater because they got there by water, and then you saw the water was like above them and shining the light through, and there'd be fish up there and stuff. And I
Oh,
keep
okay.
thinking, how cool would it be to have like a somewhat underwater themed, like you know how in Port Orleans, French Quarter, they've got the Scat Cat
Yeah,
Lounge.
to have like a dance club type
Yeah,
sitch.
like an
Yeah.
underwater type of lounge.
Yeah,
That'd
that
be
would be
so cool.
awesome.
Ursula can come out and perform her
Yeah.
her sea witch cabaret act.
Yes.
I love an under. I how is there no underwater themed hotel? I've
I've
never
never
even.
heard of one, but now Universal's made a space theme hotel, which I feel like seems very similar to what they were going for with the Star Wars hotel, minus the whole Star Wars part of it.
What is theirs called again? Stella
Oh,
Luna
it's
and
brand new. I don't remember.
yeah, I know which one you're talking about. I saw a picture of the rooms, the inside
Yes.
of the rooms.
Yes.
Not the most
No.
immersively themed, I would say.
No.
So it's a different product.
Celanova is correct.
Okay, cool.
Yes, it's different. It's like it's not like they're not using screens and stuff like that. They're
No.
just kind of loosely space.
Yeah, it's like your kid's room is space
It is, the
themed.
building is very pretty.
The building is very, very pretty. We drove by it one time
We
and we were
did.
like, look at how cool that looks.
Yes.
Okay, well, I have never seen the picture of the lobby that Morgan just showed. The
Mhm.
lobby is quite pretty.
Yeah, they're going for like a, yeah, it's like a space theme without, but they're not trying to make you feel like you're in space, I
And
don't think.
the rooms aren't terribly
Or are they?
super duper spacey, I don't think. Oh no, that's pretty spacey.
Yeah, and it does look like that, right? Oops.
Yeah,
That-
it looks like they might have.
When I saw
is
this,
that a
I was like,
screen or is that a window?
I want it to be a screen.
Are there more pictures? We're finding things out in real time. No, not
Oh,
really.
that's a floor plan. Good for them.
Yeah.
I always feel like that's a helpful thing when picking a hotel.
Yeah, they've got this art on the wall, or they've got this this concept
Window.
picture, and it's hard to tell if the window in it is an actual window or if it's one of those spaceport things. Like, is that the space sky or is that just the sky at night?
When I first saw this, I was thinking that it was like the Star Wars, and so I was in my brain it was a screen.
But then the building has windows all over it.
Yeah, good point.
So it's hard to know necessarily one way or the other. It would be cool if they could figure out the technology where if you want the window open, you can have the window open, but when you shut the window, it's a simulated screen. That would be great.
Yes.
So you can kind of pick
Totally.
one or the other.
I feel like I've either seen that this exists or is coming to exist in cruise technology.
Oh, really?
With a regular porthole, yes.
Cool. That would be awesome. Because I do slightly worry about wanting to see the outside world.
Yeah.
You know, I think there are people like me out there who are like, I don't mind the simulated porthole, but if I'm in a room with no windows, sometimes that gives me a little bit of anxiety to not be able to see the outside world if I'm in there for a long time. Not that you necessarily should be on your cruise.
No, you wouldn't. I think
vacation,
most people book an inside cabin because it's so much cheaper than even just a regular being able to window that you can see outside. And so these virtual porthole rooms, because they're so fun, they kind of made the price up there as the same as having a regular ocean view. So,
gotcha, yeah.
And part of the time they're projecting exactly what's outside, so it's like you're watching a video of what's outside.
Live cam.
Do you think that would fool you?
No, I don't know. I've never had experience staying somewhere like that.
I think it would fool a lot of people, but you really notice stuff.
Well, in Space 220, I never feel like I'm looking at the outside ever. So like I don't. If
but our brain knows we're not in space.
that's
you think that's it?
True. I don't know. I would definitely try it out. I mean, for the price difference, I probably would just suck it up. You know what I mean, and figure it out.
Yeah.
If I were looking to book that way, so I'll let you know.
Yeah.
When it happens.
So the interior cabins are so much cheaper generally, and it's like you're like you have to think if you want to do this, which I've done it. It's fine. you're only going to really be in the room to sleep and shower.
Right, exactly. And
Yeah.
I'm not the type of person that I don't think would be in my room a particularly a long amount of time.
No, if you had a balcony, you might be in your room more, but then you're, using your balcony.
Right.
Yeah. So, anyway.
Yeah. So this underwater theme park hotel concept, do you have any idea for the name of the resort?
Oh, no, I didn't even think about that. Did you think
Oh.
about that in yours?
Yeah, I thought mine might be called Adventure Cove.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that was where I got.
Nope, I've got nothing. You have something?
No, I haven't thought about it long enough. I mean, you could call it Sea Castle as like a tribute to Horizons, because that's what they
yeah.
called it.
Yeah. Cute.
Especially if it's in the Epcot resort area, that would be great. Oh yeah, that's another great question. Where in Walt Disney? Oh
area.
yeah, Epcot.
Yeah, I even think that if there's a way to get like a side entrance to the World Nature.
Yeah, the
because
seas.
they're calling World Nature, but it's really mostly watery, don't you think?
Yes.
It's got Nemo and it's got Coral Reef, which I'm sure
what else is it? Oh, the land is
and
over
Moana.
There. Yeah, and Moana's over there.
Which is all water. I mean,
Right.
I guess the land isn't.
But even that's got a boat ride.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, that is a lot of water.
I do assume at some point they're going to upgrade the menu at Coral Reef. They've got no choice. Nobody goes.
Yeah.
You can get a reservation there anytime because they're not doing well.
It's surprising to me that it has stayed so underattended for so long with no major changes.
I don't see how that's not catching the attention of whoever decides to make changes. So not that long ago, Disneyland made some changes into their Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
Where they changed the bride and they added some screens and they changed the story. Yeah. And I'm like, this is good, I guess, or this is fine, but there's so many things that really need change. It surprises me that this was the choice.
Right. I get that.
Especially the story. I'm still wrapping my head around whether I'm okay with the change of the story.
For the
Haunted Mansion
the
bride.
attic scene?
Yeah, so for a while she was beheading all of her husbands.
Right.
And that was the story. And she was like the serial killer bride.
I liked that.
I did too.
That was very creepy.
And now they made it so that she's just a sad bride who lost her husband.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's something that
it's sad.
Now it's sad instead of I don't know what, the thrill you get from a horror type movie. You get that from the serial killer bride. This is just oh man, I hope that doesn't happen to me. You know what I mean? I feel bad for her.
It's very sad. It makes you.
Do you want me feeling sad? You want me to be scared, right? Not sad.
Yeah, it is, and I don't think the beating heart, the ride that they put in there, I don't think she is particularly scary. But then I think, are any of the other ghosts murderers like that?
No,
I don't know. The Haunted Mansion bride had been. She killed all those men, and now she's in the attic. I guess in its own way, that didn't particularly fit with the story either. But that wasn't the original concept. So whatever stage we're at now is so many deviations. Do you remember what the original
concept actually was? I think it was closer to what it is now, where she just lost her husband.
Yeah, I think the portraits were what was new,
and the axe.
Yeah, the portraits.
You
and
mean
the
a while
axe.
ago?
Yeah, when they last made the major change to the bride, I think that was the last change, and I think before it was similar to now with the beating heart bride and the widow story line. You know?
Yeah, and I don't know. I guess I can see. You could talk me into the serial killer axe murderer bride thing being an issue because there's no age requirement on the ride. Although
true,
everything you do is a choice. You know what I mean? You don't have to take your 3-year-old.
And it is a ride about dead people.
There's no question about it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right.
That's up to you and
That's
your parenting decision. But I just don't know that sad was the way to go.
Yeah.
The direction to go. Even in the beginning, I don't know. I think it made sense to change it to ghost story, like something you would tell around a fire with
Yeah.
s'mores, is like the story of the serial killer bride.
Oh yeah.
What was that
Absolutely.
movie with Michael Myers back in the 90s?
Oh.
So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Yeah.
It's like, that wasn't a horror movie, it was a comedy.
Oh my god, you're right. Yeah.
So anyway, I'm just saying.
So yeah, it wasn't. I mean, yeah, I see what you're saying.
I got way off topic. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. It was a good deviation. You and I haven't even talked about the fact that they changed the Haunted Mansion yet.
I know,
Yeah.
crazy. But yeah, sometime. So anyway, back to Coral Reef. That's what you guys might want to focus on.
Right. I keep waiting
Not
for
making me sad in the Haunted Mansion.
Right.
That's where I was going with that. That's how that happened.
On the other side of the country.
On the other side of the country when I go there in a few years.
So I keep waiting for the announcement that the menu has changed and that now they're going to be projecting characters into the aquarium.
Heck yes. We got a celebrity chef. They're awesome. The menu's going to be better. You're going to get to see Nemo and Dory and all their friends.
That makes so much sense. And you can see the mermaids from Luca. You can see the mermaid from
I made a little note. I don't know if you saw it, where I said, would Luca or Atlantis be big enough of movies to work?
I think one really nice reference for each.
Okay.
Not
a wing or a floor. Or a building.
A wing of the hotel. I was like, wings, they're underwater.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, probably not, because probably not enough people.
The bathroom. They can get a bathroom.
Oh, yeah. Luca-themed bathroom would probably be really cute.
Luca's set in Italy, so I can give him a little quick serve restaurant for sure.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah, and then Atlantis, I don't know. It's a beautiful film. It gets not much love.
Yeah, that can just have, like, one of the animations in the porthole is the necklace falling from the top to the bottom.
The super fans.
For people who know what's up.
Michael would be thrilled.
I would be thrilled. Yeah. I grew up with Atlantis. I loved Atlantis. I will say that is one of the ones that I think desperately needs a live action. So when the live action happens, maybe more.
See, ones like that I didn't watch a billion times. So you did watch it a billion times, but I didn't.
But I was like the only one. Like it wasn't a very popular thing for them.
I'm okay with them. I'm more okay with them doing live actions of ones that like I didn't. I saw like Beauty and the Beast and The Little Mermaid a million times animated version. So when I'm watching the live action, I'm comparing every single scene in my brain to what's imprinted there already.
It's true.
It's like, it's kind of exhausting.
And they're some of the most like well-regarded animated movies of all time. So now I'm watching this like CGI remake thinking like,
that's not my Sebastian.
How could this how could this possibly stand up to such legendary material?
Right.
I think that is a major problem with them, and I think it's going to be the problem that they have with the Snow White movie, because Snow White was like the first iconic animated film of all time, and the new one is just kind of some movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's crazy that they can. But Atlantis is already just some movie, you know, basically. So Atlantis, Treasure Planet, even like the Black Cauldron. I feel like all of those would be great live actions because they don't have the same.
I know a lot of people watch Lilo and Stitch over and over, but I didn't. I guess just weird timing for me personally.
Gotcha.
So I wonder if I'll like that one better.
I don't know. I hope so. I hope I like it. I like Lilo and Stitch a lot.
The CGI of Stitch looks very cute.
He is very cute.
Yeah.
I like that he's got that really furry.
I'm glad they kept his cuteness because a lot of times, like with Timon and Pumbaa and Sebastian, they really took away their cuteness.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know.
Yeah, that was one of the more egregious live action things to me, was how they
portrayed these cute, cuddly characters.
Yeah. The Lion King, they like took all the expression out of their faces. That was sad. I didn't like that.
Yeah.
Because then now I'm watching a CGI lion cub whose CGI lion dad just died. And he's crying and it's sad, but you can't even really tell that they're sad because their emotions aren't
in
like...
Mufasa, they put a lot more... I know you haven't seen it yet. They put a lot more...
I hear that.
...emotion. And it's most of the time it's good, and sometimes it's too much, and I'm like...
Really?
Yeah, to me.
Got you.
Michael didn't have an issue with it. But like a big smile on a real looking lion was a little weird for me.
Crazy? A little
Yeah.
bit? Yeah, I can see how that would be a little weird.
So anyway.
All right. Well, hey, those were some of our ideas.
I would stay at your hotel.
Are you kidding? I would definitely stay at an underwater themed Disney hotel. It seems crazy to me that they haven't. That one seems like they should have already made that hotel.
I think it's probably too complicated, and once the tech gets a
Yeah.
little bit cheaper, they might go. It might be something they go with.
I could definitely see
I would
that.
love to be in a room and see like the Little Mermaid swim by or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Because there are Little Mermaid rooms at Art of Animation, but it's not like that.
No,
You know what I mean? It's like a totally
no.
different vibe.
yeah, it's not like you're with her in her element.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like 90s and fun, but it's not like immersive. Like
Actually, it would be cool, jumping back real quick,
Yep.
to if the scenery changed so that like at some point, kind of like in Space 220, where at some point you see the castle from Little Mermaid in the background, but then like an hour later you see the coral reefs from Nemo in the background. You know what I
Oh,
mean? So kind
yeah.
of you're traveling. I guess then you wouldn't be in a standing hotel, you would be in a submarine or something like that. I
Oh.
don't. So that's a totally different
Sea
concept.
base.
But I'm fine with that too, Disney, if you are listening to me.
Yeah, totally. Honestly, I know this goes a little bit more into like movies and IPs and things, but the Horizons and Locations, one
Yeah.
of the three,
Yeah.
I feel like is a great place to start
Oh,
with
yeah.
resorts.
Honestly,
Any
they could
one of
make a
those.
Horizons hotel and you're either in this one or this one. I would die.
Oh my god! And they've got the robot butler.
Yes,
and
oh
the-
my god.
Ah, that would be
Okay,
so good.
okay.
All right, we were
Let's
both wrong.
scratch- Yeah.
Let's start over. No, but honestly, this is the modern version of that would get made. You know what I
Maybe,
mean?
yeah.
It's something that the idea of it kind of comes from that, but it's got all of these modern injections of IP. That's something Disney, I feel like, would green light to build, you know?
Yeah.
If they were wanting to spend a bunch of money on a
Ton
new
of money.
resort, yeah.
Yeah. Although they've got to make so much money when they can sell these rooms at like $1,000 a night. It's mind blowing to me
Yeah.
when I'm looking at my travel agent discount and it's like still 3 times as much as anything I would normally spend.
It's so crazy.
Yeah, I'm like,
We were trying to figure out which deluxe resort we wanted to stay in for the night of our wedding.
Yeah.
So we were like, this is one of the only times in our lives probably that
Yeah.
we're going to be okay with spending this kind of money.
Right.
Because like, when do you ever just waste
right.
that much money
on one night?
Almost never. And it was, but just looking at Grand Floridian prices and stuff, we were both like, oh my god, people do this for 5 nights in a row.
And if you can, good for you.
Oh,
But
yeah.
like for we were talking about that for our 10-year wedding anniversary, which is maybe another one where you might spend a lot of money on one
Yeah.
night. And then we were like, okay, we could either do 2 nights in this hotel or a 5-night cruise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pretty easy decision.
I start doing math like that too.
Yeah, that's
I'm
how
like,
my brain works.
for one night here, I
Yes.
could have a week of theme park tickets. I could like, there's
Yes.
so many things it equates to
Yes.
that I end up talking myself out of it
Yes.
basically every time. But yeah, if it were under the sea themed, then you know that it might.
You might have to.
I might have to with such a unique, awesome theme.
Well, and especially, I think a lot of people do the like spend a lot extra on these big budget hotels because
Mhm.
they're not like us where they're in Disney every other week.
It's
They're-
true.
Yeah, if this is like, then it is like your wedding, but maybe not quite as much.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
once in a lifetime.
Yeah, or
vacation.
even once every 5 years or something. They
Right.
want to go all out. They worked hard.
Right,
Yeah, I
totally.
get it.
We're very used to themed entertainment and
Yeah.
themed accommodations and stuff. I definitely see why, if you are in the position to splurge
Yeah.
on your big vacation, that of course you would want to stay. I mean, I'm right there with you. If it were the same price, I'd be at these deluxe resorts all the time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there are some ideas for Walt Disney World's next resort. Have you always had an idea for a Walt Disney World resort? We would love to hear them. in the comments over on either Instagram at Neverland Navco or on the newly reinstated TikTok app at
Well,
Neverland Navco as well. Kind of newly. We recorded
a
this
while.
the day that TikTok came back, so it's kind of been a wild ride. One might say like a roller coaster that you might find at the theme park. But yeah, we would love to see you guys over there as well.
Yes, we also have an Etsy shop called Neverland Navigation on Etsy. You just search shop names, Neverland Navigation, where we do t-shirts, we do dish towels, we do sweatshirts. And instead of browsing, send me a message and tell me what your favorite ride is or your favorite character is, and I'll send you some ideas, because we just have thousands and thousands of designs, and it's just way easier to do it that way. And I can make something custom for you that way. But also, if you're thinking about taking a trip, just email me at neverlandnavigationco@gmail.com. And then if you let me book your trip, it costs you the same or less as you're going to pay anyway, and you get those shirts for free.
Oh yeah, that's the way to do it. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us on this episode of Neverland Navigation Radio. We are busy taking a snorkel dive under the sea to our sea castle themed resort. Wow, that was a long one. So we'll see you on our next adventure. Goodbye.
Bye.